ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. Thank you for listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network or watching us right here on YouTube. We're here every single day, artists talking about art. And do you know how hard it is to play the harp? Like, seriously. Do you know how hard it is? I think there are only 4 people in the whole world who play the harp. We're going to find out. We're going to find out from Kirsten. She has played in some of the biggest pits of the most iconic Broadway shows. She's played with some of the most famous performers of all time. And she has an album out, and it's nominated for a Grammy, and it's gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. Any song that has the word octopus in the title is a favorite of mine. Kirsten, welcome to the Roundtable.
Oh my goodness, you already have me laughing. This is great. Anything that has octopus in the title.
I win. You've already sold me. Congratulations. The album called Aquamarine is out right now. It's streaming wherever music is heard. And if you're looking for a moment to study, clean, sleep, a date night, a holiday party, or you just want to just come home from work and take a moment and listen to some beautiful music, it's all there for you.
That is correct. It is.
How do you create an album like this? What is the instrumentation like on the album? Obviously, it's a harp, but what do you call the experience that this album is?
Well, I would call the experience one that's very soothing and one that can bring a lot of peace in a season where some of us are going through grief. This album was written personally as an homage to my late mother, who passed away in January, and our shared love of the ocean. So, the instrumentation is primarily solo harp, but I do have some collaborations on the album as well. One with a cellist. And another with a cellist and violinist. So there's some chamber elements to it, but the overall feel is harp driven for sure.
Can I ask you a stupid harp question?
Of course.
So there's like the harp, like the big harp with all the strings. Yeah. And then is there an electronic harp?
They do sell electric harps, yes. Mm-hmm.
But on this album, you're playing...
I'm playing acoustically, yes. Okay. So one of the things that I like to share is that my mix engineer, who actually doubles as my husband.
Yes, I read that.
And I love saying that. He's the one that adds all the special sauce to the music. So all of the swimmy bed of ethereal ambience that you hear behind the music is created by him with all of these cool vintage and modern outboard units that he has, and he knows how to really make it very special. So the one thing that I like to also mention is that there are no keyboards on the album. There's no keyboards, there's no synths. Everything is created without that. So I know, bug eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it really is a mixture of many, many different, a combination of different effects, and he rides them actually in live, sometimes in live setting, meaning that it'll never be the same twice.
That was so fascinating to me, because when I heard the album, as a singer and recording music and put out a jazz album, and you get to say, like, there's no synths on this album. It's all real musicians. And it's so easy nowadays to, go on Fiverr and hire someone to make a synthesizer sound in Belgium somewhere or everywhere, anywhere. It's very accessible. And for you guys to do it all in-house, mm-hmm. and all do it with him, and what a duo you two are.
And the sweet cherry on the top is that it was all recorded in our brand new recording studio that we built in our townhome in Brooklyn.
Right, so, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well,
so it's all in-house.
Firstly, right now, are you playing? You're playing in Radio City?
I am.
Next Thursday. I'll be looking for the harp, the 2:00 show on Thursday.
I'm not sure if I'm playing that. You'll have to look at my website to find out.
We're talking about the website. Look on the website. Go to the website right here and make sure you get all of your information. You can see her bio, all the things that she plays, and listen to the album. And then pick a day to go see Radio City, where she'll be playing the harp. And Exciting. So your husband is no stranger to a pit either. I know he's over there playing the music that goes along with the corn at Chucked. How
A lot of corn shucking.
how is it that you make there's a lot of artistic life and I'm sure a lot of logistics and schedules and things like that, but how do you make a marriage of artists work and so beautifully that you collaborate together?
Yes, I think, it was difficult, honestly, at the beginning when we first started working together. And I think we had to learn that we hung up the married hat at the door, meaning that, when you go into the control room and you're about to start mixing together and, he's mixing my project, I'm there to be a part of that. You can't bicker like a married couple. You can't let that get in the way of the music and of the project that you're working on. So we've learned over the years of how to really communicate better and communicate in a professional way in the studio, and then revert back to our married selves when we walk out for dinner.
No one wants to say you didn't pick up the socks in the middle of the recording.
Exactly.
I get it. I totally understand.
Laundry's still on the floor, by the way.
Well, when you look at the list of shows in your bio here that you have worked on, either on Broadway or performing, with artists like Andrea Bocelli and Gaga and The Roots and Beyonce and Jay-Z and Stevie Wonder and Enya and those people that you may have heard of, everybody. I know from a lot of my friends who play on Broadway and are in pits and come from school and studying, it's very competitive. It's a very competitive field where, the best really are the ones that chosen to do this for a living. What was the day where you decided that the harp we're gonna make a go of it as a musician?
Well, I've been playing the harp since I was 5 years old. So that's a really tough question to answer because it's really been part of my world since I was a little kid. And, I always knew that music was a passion. And certainly, I was a competitive pianist when I was growing up and through high school. And then it just became really apparent that the harp was really obviously the more unique of the talents that I had. And it just made a lot of sense for me to pursue it because I was already, competitive, winning competitions and doing very well in my craft. And so I got a bachelor's and a master's degree from Indiana University School of Music, but I studied also at Juilliard with the professor here for 2 years in high school. So it made a lot of sense for me to end up in New York City. And I feel like New York really handed me on a silver platter opportunities right away. And I'm very grateful for that. So I have a lot of love for New York.
Well, absolutely. Well, it says Paradise Square, Wonderland,
Yeah.
Pirate Queen, Beauty and the Beast, Camelot, all of these shows, iconic, beautiful, big orchestrated shows, and you being there and being a part of it, and now your own solo project on top of that is fantastic. I am so curious when I speak to musicians. There's one thing to be in the pit of a show or in an orchestra, and then there's another thing to take a step forward as an artist with your name on the album and your music streaming. When did you decide it was time for you to branch out your creativity and become a solo artist, for lack of a better word? That's what it is.
Well, I spent a lot of years concertizing as a solo artist in the classical realm. And so, I always felt that whatever I was going to do in terms of an album, I wanted it to be my own music. And that really started happening not that long ago. I started writing my own music in 2019. So it's a fairly recent pursuit, and it's one that I've been grateful to have some success with, and I'm very honored and grateful to be a nominee for the Grammy Awards. And it really has been a very I would say soul fulfilling endeavor because it's very different than playing the same music day after day in any of the in a show setting, right? And being able to come home or even before I go to a show and work on my own thing helps keep me balanced.
Absolutely. I totally understand. Well, she said it. She is nominated for Best New Age Ambient or Chant Album. And, the Grammys are, for people who don't know anything about music and they just turn on CBS and they see it, it is a big process of there's albums are submitted. There's a preliminary ballot. They have to be up for nominations. Then it goes across to all the other people that are in this category who then listen to this music and then vote on it, who gets nominated before it's open for the General Recording Academy and the people to vote for best to win the Grammy. So it's a process. It's a whole campaign and process. How did you find the process leading up to the nomination day, and then what was nomination day like?
Well, the process has been really wonderful. I think the network of musicians that you meet through this process, I've made so many new friends, and I'm probably going to end up collaborating with some new people because of those relationships. And nomination day, I was in my PJs, to be totally honest. It was in the morning. I figured nobody was going to see me. I wasn't going to record myself. Yeah. And I was the first one that was announced in my category. So I think I was deaf to the other four at the time because I was just in shock. And of course, there were tears and exclamations, joy. So, and then I kept rewatching it because I could. So,
Yes, it's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. It is such a wonderful, special thing, especially an album like this where you said it comes from your heart. It really has a deep meaning for you. Have you always written music?
I mean, I took some classes in composition back in the day, but as I mentioned earlier, really my composition studies for writing albums started in 2019. So.
It's amazing. We've had shows with songwriters here. Dar Williams was here, and she says, if you can write in a notebook, you could have a friend make some chords, and I said, no, you can't. No, I can't. I don't have anything to say. But we all do have something to say. It's just a matter of being intentional and sitting down and doing it.
Right.
So what's your suggestion? When should we listen to the album? Should we listen to it from beginning to end? Is there a moment or a time? What is your dream as listeners to be able to appreciate your work?
I think it makes the perfect backdrop for a glass of wine next to if you celebrate Christmas, next to your Christmas tree or whatever festive, warm and joy-filled experience in your home. It can also be the backdrop for, as you mentioned, studying and taking a hot bath and anything that's relaxing or sleep. Another key component to life. But honestly, it's meant for people to find stress relief and to enjoy some peaceful moments that could maybe carry them into a different place for about 45 minutes.
Well, I'm someone who talks very much so on this show about anxiety and coping with that. And at night, instead of the endless YouTube loop of, Disney classics played by piano or Christmas tunes by some synthesizer that is with a fake fireplace on YouTube for 12 hours. Right. You can put your album on repeat. It is so beautiful and relaxing at the end of a stressful work day. It is beautiful to just listen to the sounds. And if you're someone who loves the ocean like you do, then you can just, especially in these cold New York winters, reminisce and think about a warmer, nicer place. Why the ocean? Why is that significant to you? And did that influence your writing style?
Well, I grew up in Michigan, so I was near the Great Lakes, and my family traveled very extensively when I was growing up. So we were always seeking out blue spaces in the various places that we traveled in the world, and the ocean was very important to my mother. And my parents retired to Florida, and she spent every day walking on the beach. And when I would visit them, that would be something that I would do specifically with her alone. And it was really, bonding time for a mother and daughter to have together, picking up shells, talking about life. And I think that was something that I just really wanted to focus on for a way to commemorate the memories that I have of her in that way. And some of the best memories that I have were spent with her near an ocean.
That's it's beautiful. And the album is beautiful. And the universe always sends me people from Michigan for it's true.
Right? Seriously?
In this in your album, this chant ambient new age album, it's like the universe is always sent. My partner is in Detroit, and I spend half of my time in Detroit, and we have a lot of guests from Michigan. And
How about that?
and me being this East Coast snob, Jersey kid, said to my Darius, Michigan doesn't have nice beaches. You're in the middle of the country. And insult of a Michigander when you say, and then I had to get, the pictures of the beaches of Michigan and the Great Lakes and the beautiful islands and places that you can go to off the coast of Michigan. I have been reformed.
Fun fact, my mother was Miss Michigan 1957, and she dedicated the Mackinac Bridge, which is the bridge that connects the Mackinac Bridge. For those people who don't know the Mackinac Bridge, it connects the Lower Peninsula to the Upper Peninsula and the island of Mackinac Island. And she cut the ribbon for that bridge.
And Mackinac Island, I've not been, but I'm fascinated by the idea.
Have your Darius take you because it's amazing. There are no cars.
No cars.
No cars on the island. It's all horse and buggy.
Where did you grow up in Michigan?
Outside of Detroit. There's our connection.
I've learned so much about it, and I always tease everyone that comes on about there's a uniqueness to Michigan, like Superman ice cream and Faygo soda and Better Made potato chip, Coney Island. These are all things that he would talk about.
Yep.
I was like, what are you talking about? These things don't exist. Well, they exist in Michigan.
They do. You are absolutely right, and he's absolutely right.
Why, growing up, I just asked a bunch of other musicians that come from here. Detroit and Michigan in particular has such storied history. Besides Motown, but across the board, many artists, many musicians have come out of the city of Detroit and the surrounding area. What is it? Is it the water? What is it about Michigan? And someone gave a very interesting answer. They said there was, for many years, the area around Detroit suffered without the arts, and it's a very tough history of a city. And that maybe sometimes the lack of resources have made people driven to be able to do more. What is it about the area that makes it so a home for artists and musicians?
I don't really have an answer for that. It's been a very long time since I've lived there. I left when I was, 17 to go to college, and I never returned. So So I have to say, I don't really know, but I think there's a lot of truth in that. And Detroit obviously has gone through many different cycles of despair and rebirth. And I think, they're in a type of renaissance right now. And so hopefully that will help some creativity, spark from that area again and continue to grow with the creativity.
Well, we have people like you, so I appreciate Michigan, and I appreciate all of the hard work and art and artistry. I know for you to put out an album and to have the career that you have had, you have spent millions of hours, sitting down and practicing it. And I hope that is an inspiration to the students, the musical theater students, and the jazz students, et cetera, that watch this show all of the time, that you put in the work and you could be nominated for a Grammy and have your album. Aquamarine is out wherever music is heard. So if you're an Apple, if you're a Spotify, if you're a YouTube, if you're wherever you listen to music, make sure you stream the album from beginning to end. And we could follow you at K Copely Music. If you're listening to us, it's KCOPELY Music on Instagram. And we could go to the website, KirstenCopelyMusic.com, so that you can, find out what Radio City shows she'll be playing and what's to come in the future. And we'll be rooting you on when the Grammy Award show.
Yes.
Next year.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Robert. And it's been so much fun talking with you.
It's really beautiful. And I encourage everyone, please take a stream and listen to it. You'll be addicted, and it will get you through some of your days as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here.
Thank you for having me.